Dr. Pradhumnya Pandey, Manufacturing HR Head, Hero MotoCorp Limited. Can we please have a round of applause? And finally, I would like to call Mr. Ashish Bhalla, Director HR at HCL Technologies.
Dr. Bhimaraya, I think we can start the session.
Very good afternoon, respected suits of all the distinguished participants and my eminent panelists. So, our topic of discussion for this panel is resilience, business leadership, global perspectives, local impact. This is the topic. And we have very eminent panel. We have with us Mangal Devji, Head Hitachi, Rail Systems India, South Asia, and Director Hitachi India Private Limited, Mangal Devji. And we have Rajiv Kapoor ji, Managing Director, Manav Rachna Education Institution. And we have the Ashish Bhallaji, Director HR, HCL Technologies, Virendra Kumar Verma, Head HR Strategy and Transformation, Maruti Suzuki Limited, and Pradhumnya Pandey, the Head Manufacturing, Head HR, Hero MotoCorp Limited. So we have people from all the top-notch industries, and a very, very relevant and hot topic. As all of you know that pandemic, COVID, was one such disruption. Of course, technology disruptions are always happening, and the topic, the transformation to thrive, shape the future of work in a world of constant disruption. But pandemic was also one of the disruption. And how to come back in such a disruption, resilience is all about, basically it is a multifaceted approach and requires a holistic perspective to come back and to again lead the normal life and to thrive. So in this context, this topic is extremely relevant and important, and thanks to Sudsab identifying this important topic, and also very apt panel for this topic. Global perspective, if you look at the global resilience, today entire world is an interconnected world. In this interconnected world, the impact of one corner of the country has an impact on other corner. If you all seen that 2007-8 financial crisis of America is impacted a lot. And China, before pandemic and even now also, the real estate crashes, that has impacted on the rest of the world. So one part of the world is impacting another part of the world. So therefore, global resilience is extremely important, and this needs our Indian tradition. Today, we have followed most of the Western philosophies and also tools and technique. But today, entire world needs our traditions, that is a cooperation, that is a collaboration. And how to act on collectively to solve the problems related to global resilience. So collective action is extremely important. And even you might have heard about Maruti Suzuki, Virendra Saab is here. When Japan earthquake happened, and the third tier supplier, even including Thailand, when the material was supposed to come for the production, it interrupted. Then Maruti suddenly decided we develop the even tier 3 vendors locally in India so that disruption can be stopped. So this is the way all the time these disruptions are happening, and globally connected world, and today we talk about global supply chain. So in this kind of environment, how to come back and also how to achieve our result and business goals and the purpose, as Guptaji rightly said, a very purpose of, serving the society in broader meaning, how can be achieved in this context. So this topic plays an important role. I have a very eminent panel. I will not take much time. And in this panel discussion, we follow 3 steps. Step 1, I request each of the panel member to speak about 5 to 6 minutes. That is the opening remarks from the panel members. And then after opening remarks, then we will have one round of questions, and if the time available, then second round of discussion through questions we will do. So this is the flow. I request the first panelist, that is Mangal Devji, to go ahead and give the opening remarks on this topic based on the experience and expertise.
Thank you so much, sir. And good afternoon, everyone, and thanks to the organizers for really setting up this stage and having a house full. And I think in the previous panel discussion, very, very heartening to know a lot of new things and new ways of creating happiness. I think one component of happiness also comes from resilience, if we may connect. And in this millennium, if you just look back, this millennium, obviously in previous millenniums and many, many millenniums, disruptions are always there, whether these are caused by man or nature or otherwise. So these disruptions do create challenges for the society, for the economies, and for the planet, Earth planet, where we live on. And only I think recently it has become such an important topic that we are discussing in this forum. I mean, in my career of around 35 years, which I started with Suzuki, we had a very easy life. We were manufacturing cars first time in India. We introduced Japanese technology, and there was a huge demand, then we could supply. So we were very happy. And at that time, I think if we look at different stakeholders that define an economy, so it was only our shareholders, that we were delivering to. And as more and more companies came in, and I also moved from this company to another global company, General Electric, I found that customers then got added as one more stakeholder, and we talked about customer-centric. And then we started talking about employees, then we started talking about our society, and then we started talking about environment and the planet. So now we have come a full circle as far as my experience is concerned, seen from one stakeholder to multiple stakeholders, and resilience applies to each and every one of these, and maybe today it is at the center stage. And I think it is also, resilience is when you have a disruption, how do you bounce back, in whatever terms you may say, how do you bounce back and not only just recover, but also enhance your level of activity, enhance, I think there's a very nice word used here, thrive. So how do you come back and thrive? So resilience is bouncing back and thriving again and then doing much better than what you used to do before. Maybe it is an opportunity also. So we should not look at this as a challenge, but also look as an opportunity, because we can reset many things. Like, for example, today we are talking about, global supply chain. So when the disruptions happens after COVID, or even during the conflicts that are happening now, one of the key element is the supply chain impacting each and every economy, and therefore the idea of maybe having a resilient supply chain is also one of the very, very important parameter. And I think we see India spending a lot of, coming up with a lot of policies and schemes to make sure that Atmanirbharta is, sustained. And likewise, I also see a revival of Buy America, and then every country is talking about in their own region and in their own country so that, they can sustain. So coming back to this topic of resilience, I realized that, as I said, this is very, very recent. And I realized that I've been, tracking this activity at Davos, which is in Switzerland, where every year there is a World Economic Forum and the global leaders come together. And only for the last decade, I would say, they started talking about first globalization. In 2008-9, they were talking about globalization and how to enhance productivity, how to enhance growth, how to, thrive. But very recently, in 2020, just after COVID, because COVID was something which shook all of us to the core. And I think some of us even imagined that, this is the end of the world. Perhaps, we bounce back and, we are back and thriving. But what happened in 22 Davos was that the global leaders came together in the World Economic Forum and constituted what is called a resilience consortium. So that means all these leaders, whether in the public or in the private sector, the government or industries, and they came together to talk about this, that how can we create an environment of resilience around the world, to bring back the economic activity, to give back to the society or all the stakeholders that I talked about. So this has become a very, very important area. And therefore, the whole idea that the leadership also has to imbibe this kind of culture, this kind of style of leadership where not only, as I talked about the supply chain, but also how do we look at various trends? How can we see the major trends, major disruptions before they happen? Can we imagine them beforehand and then plan for it rather than, work on recovery, but can we anticipate? One example is, this whole idea of, when we look at customers. Earlier, our customers used to buy products. Now they are looking at experience. I mean, if we talk about Gen Z, they don't care about, whether they want to own a car. So Suzuki will, not be happy with it. But they don't want to own the cars, but they want to just, point A to point B, travel experience. That's all. I mean, that is what they want to have. And I'm sure many such things, and as we see in our customers, many such things are experience-based. So how do we change the entire commercial structure or commercial model of doing business, where we give experience rather than just selling products? So to do this experience, I think one thing which has come very, very clearly is the digital world. So everything is becoming digital world, online, lot of data, lot of artificial intelligence. So this is also playing a very big role that in order to be resilient, you also need to incorporate digital technologies in your area, in your life, and give that outcome of experience to your end customers. And obviously, through this digital, through this analytics, through this different engagement with Gen Z and others, you also need to enhance the well-being of the employees, because well-being has become one of the, I would say, a byproduct of different technologies that we are consuming. The iPhones or the laptops or the way we are engaging in our activities. I think well-being has taken a big hit, and today we are very happy to know that the organic well-being company is at the core of it. Not only creating good products but also creating a happiness content in their company.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
I can go on and on,
I'll
but
come
sorry.
back. I'll come back again. I'll come the questions. We'll complete within 5 minutes first round.
Thank you.
So I request Virendra Kumarji, your view, opening remark on this very important topic.
Hello, am I audible? Hello. So first of all, let me convey my heartiest congratulations to Sud Saab and their team for organizing such a wonderful initiative, and more so, very, very apt topic of building resilient leadership and global perspectives and local context and local impact. So how to build? First, I would just touch upon that how to build the resilient leadership. So that needs to be understood. The way the pace, the whole world is changing, a lot of disruptions have taken place. Let me give you a live example during the COVID period, the kind of big disruption which has taken place. Similarly, how you can make leaders resilient. Understanding this perspective first, and then how we are making it in Maruti. I'll touch upon that aspect as well. First is moving from a traditional leadership styles to eclectic leadership style. Eclectic leadership style is something to do with adaptive leadership, which is a blend of combination of different leadership styles, situational leadership, transitional to transactional to transformational leadership, and mix of leadership style in most complex environment in which we are living today. Because in this environment, you can't depend on a single style of leadership which can work. So eclectic is little flexible and also adaptive to the needs of the organization. Second is also ensuring how to build this resilience, how to build this resilient leadership in them. Most important is exposing them to a most challengeable. Make a change larger than the size of the life those leaders have. Then they will certainly shake them and make them adopt the different styles of leadership, and that will grow their potential to come out to this eclectic style of leadership. So how we are doing it in Maruti? Seeing these conditions now, since a lot of disruptions have taken place, and my colleague Mangal has also touched upon that, it's moving from owning a car to moving into owning an experience in the car. So we don't no more have a competition with our car company. We have a competition with Googles and Amazons and, Ola and Electric and whatnot, with everybody in the world. How we are building this culture? We created an innovation acceleration program in the organization, starting with a DIGIT program, with digital for innovation and transformation. And it started from the top, and plus we started with the organization structure in the organization. What we have to provide a structure for, inducing an indoctrination of electric leadership within the organization. We started from the top. We have a board. We have a managing director and, vice chairman and chairman. Below them, we created a council, which is of 5 people, top people with asset knowledge, expertise, and experience. And we are exposing them and giving them and tasks to do multiple global plus local projects together, to work on them, strategize, bring those ideas and start doing that. Second is also align their strategies towards what is changing in the entire world from a local perspective. Third is we have brought in around, how to have a diverse, distributed leaders from across the globe. We have brought in around 250 plus Japanese expatriates. Plus we are also inducting people from different areas and different countries to make diverse ideas, diverse, perspectives in terms of what is needed by the consumers, getting it outside in perspective, and then building our capabilities for leaders from that perspective. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Virendraji. Now, after listening to, expert from the manufacturing area, now let us go to the education institution, Rajiv Kapoorji. Yeah.
So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Lunch is still available. So we'll not take much time between now and lunch. So great to be back here after many, many years. And thank you, top rankers, and thank you, Mr. Sood, for inviting me back again. It's always a pleasure to come here and meet a lot of old colleagues, friends. It's great. Thank you for the opportunity. So, like Dr. Metri mentioned, that I am from education institution, but let me also share with you that I come to you with 38 years of work experience, working with very diverse industry scape, not only types of industries, but I have also had the fortune to work with types of organizations, multinational organizations, as well as promoter organizations, both from India and outside India. I have very closely studied these organizations, and being the HR in these organizations, I've had key insights into how they operate. And I have worked in manufacturing, I have worked in healthcare, I've worked in services, and currently also I'm contributing, apart from my current assignment in Manav Rachna as the managing director, I'm contributing to a last mile logistic company and a health diagnostic company by being an independent director on their board. And now, after working for 38 years, I thought it's time to get re-educated. I joined exactly a year ago, Manav Rachna institution. So that's my journey for you. So we are talking about primarily resilience. And I'll be sharing my experiences on resilience and how do I look at resilience. In a nutshell, let me tell you that for achieving resilience in business, one has to, and please very importantly listen to this, one has to let go. Letting go is the most difficult thing because resilience starts from here. It's not a policy matter. It's not a process matter. Resilience starts from your mindset. And my experience says that letting go is the most difficult thing to do. Let's understand what does not allow us to be resilient. What are the hindrances? And I'm purely talking from my experience only. What doesn't allow us to be resilient is, let's say, many times we sit on our past laurels only, not empowering teams and colleagues, keeping self before the organization, and a universal fear of failure and ensuing embarrassment linked to that, not letting go, and the biggest bottleneck is the hierarchical ego. These are some of the biggest bottlenecks to becoming a resilient organization. In my terms, if I define resilience in an equation form, resilience in leadership equals empowered delegation plus situational leadership plus active listening plus inclusivity. If we look at these ingredients, they form a resilient organization and a resilient leadership. I'll give you an example where resilient leadership can actually convert an organization from one of the organizations to one of the leading organizations. And I'll quote from my experience. When we talk about resilient leadership and that transcends into people resilience, I've seen organizations who have, in just 7 years of time, have grown from a market capitalization of 4,000 crores to 66,000 crores. And these are live examples. And they are, you can study about these organizations. I will name one organization for which I've worked for 11 years, which is JCB India Limited. JCB has been known for those yellow machines, which you see everywhere where the construction is happening. And now, in UP, I think they are very, very famous now. JCB machines are seen everywhere for whatever reasons. Right from Ladakh down to the south. They are the most agile machines you can have in your kitty. So let me start briefly. I'll be brief about this example, but it's relevant I want to talk about. And this also talks about a global organization thinking local and making a huge impact locally. Now, the JCB story, they're very simple. They don't have big values, big visions, or big missions, nothing. They have just one value, sense of urgency. That's just that. And how do they describe their product portfolio? Product of hard work. That's all. You will not find in their on their websites or brochures any big statements, tall statements, nothing. Sense of urgency. It's a very small thing to when we talk about it, but go behind it. Sense of urgency in your life, work life, whatever you're doing, do it now. Nike says, do it now. Just do it. That is what drives that organization. And that, because you have to do it, the resilience flows down everywhere because nobody can wait for decisions to happen. Everybody is empowered. Everybody is accountable for what they're doing. So how did we manage this? It was a small joint venture organization, and I'm talking about the year 2002, with a revenue of 415 crores. It was a joint venture organization, and the British owner basically wanted to split because he wanted to invest. The Indian organization never had the money to invest. And the foresight was that India was sitting on the cusp of a constructional boom at that point of time. And I was inducted at that point of time to talk about people policies here and also be a part of the separation from the joint venture partner and ensuring that the smooth takeover happens. We delivered, as the Indian team we delivered, although it's a British organization. I'll tell you, we were in the bottom of the JCB family global, just contributing 5 to 6% of the revenue in the global coffers of JCB. In 11 years' time, we had crossed 40% global revenues. And that journey happened within India, with the Indian team. From the worst quality producer in the JCB family global, we became the world's #1. Even the Caterpillar's chairman talked about the Indian team when he came to India. And that was a feather in a cap. They emulated JCB team in India because Caterpillar could not do what JCB had done in India. Why I'm talking about this is because the level of empowerment, level of, I would say, accountability given to people was not just on paper and policies. People were free to take decisions. That resilience was given to them. UK was not breathing on our neck. India was left on its own, that please adopt your policies to the local way, the way you want to work in India. And that is what succeeded for JCB in India.
Okay,
So,
Rajiv ji,
yeah.
I think we will, we have taken.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Just give me one more minute and
Please.
I'll just close it. So this is one example I wanted to leave with you, just being resilient in an organization, how you can take the organization to the next level. Apart from that, of course, there are various avenues, like Virender ji also mentioned, how to create resilient leadership in an organization. That is, again, where the HR plays a major role, along with the ownership or the promotership of the organization. So we can discuss that once we have question answers, because I did write some of my learnings from there also. Maybe we get an opportunity when we interact over the question answers. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rajiv ji. So now I think we will come back to India was known as a IT superpower. So now from IT industry, Ashish Bhallaji ji here from ACL Technology. So his opening remark on resilience business leadership from global perspective. Many countries they are doing business. So I request you to give.
Sure. Thank you, sir. So yes, you rightly said many countries. So it's 60 countries, 167 nationalities, 225,000 employees. So that is globalization already as a brand that we are. So coming to the topic of resilience, I think we all have seen it in our lives. This era has seen a lot of disruptions and then COVID. And in all our capacities, individual capacities, we have seen that resilience personally or professionally. We can see how, so every organization has a BCP plan, right? Business continuity plan, but nobody thought of that there could be something at this big scale which will be globalized. So a BCP plan is designed to look at, okay, there is a disruption, we'll move our business to maybe some other city, some other country. Now this was global impact. So that BCP plan also could not work. But I think the resilience in the organization as a culture and people and processes, that made everybody to continue. If we talk about education, because I've been into campus recruitment for years for HCL Tech, so I have seen both sides of it. So if we look at the education industry, now they had to adapt quickly, be it schools or colleges, that how they move online. And that requires a lot of logistics setup. That requires even the professors, and they also need to be trained on how to do that remote connect with the students, right? And then for ourselves as an individual, accepting that challenge and moving on with it. There are manufacturing industries which got impacted, yes. Aviation industry got impacted, but there were industries which were able to carry forward because of the resilience in nature, right? And why we look at resilience is if we want business growth and business sustainability, right? So the both perspective every organization will look at. And if we have to put it in maybe broader categories, it's people, processes, right, and machine or technology. So when we say people, we need to be adaptable. We need to understand that, yes, there would be change and we have to accept that change and move on. So that adaptability is core thing. And believe me, when I look at Gen Z, we were discussing and hearing this. So in an organization of size like HCL, you have all generations, right? So millennials are there, and then there is Gen Z, and then Gen Alpha will come. So how you will have a resilient culture as well as policies and processes which will fit for all generations? It's not that easy, right? So that is where I think we need, whenever we talk about people, we have to look for all generations. Gen Z, they have different priorities. So I did one survey rollout in one of the IMs, and it turned out that the question I asked was, what is your aspirations post your MBA? So the highest poll rating was on work-life balance. And if the same question I would have asked to previous generation, it would have come as career, right? So the definition is changing. And Gen Alpha, we don't know where it will go to. And we can see it at our homes. My kids, they see life perspective very differently. They want that freedom to choose what they want to do, right? So that is where I think we as an organization, we need to have that resilient culture to cover people. Processes should be compliant for today as well as tomorrow. More acceptance towards technology, AI, because we know that is what the world is going for. So if we don't accept technology, we will have our own struggle to sustain the business in ups and downs. There could be economic factors, there could be a situation like war. Now, and war is, sometimes it's direct war and sometimes it's economic war. How we handle those situations, right? And then people, I would say people is the biggest thing that we have to invest in. The previous session, we talked about people engagement, people culture. That is what is going to impact. Brand is not just an organization, brand is people. So that is what I think I would summarize with that.
Thank you very much, Ashish. Now, our one of the distinguished member, Dr. Pradyumna Pandeji, so he is a doctorate, but he is working in, Hero Corps Limited manufacturing, HR manufacturing company, hardcore manufacturing. So from your perspective, and Hero, I think, it is one of the prominent company, and earlier it was with, Japanese company, now they are on their own. So what are the impact and disruptions are keep happening? So can you give your opening remark?
It will be 5 to 6 minutes for sure.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Not an issue. Let me introduce myself first, and there is a reason why I'm starting with a new, again introducing myself. I started my career 1991. I worked with ACC Cement for 18 years. And that time comes when you work for an organization for so long, there is a perception created, iska to naukri mil nahi rahi hai ya bahut acha hai. And the second was correct with me, and I continued 18 years with ACC Cement, then moved to Mamana Sugars. I was heading HR for Mamana Sugars from 2008 to 14. 14, I moved to JK Tyre as head of HR. So normally this is my signature way of introducing myself, that I am solid with cement, sweet with sugar, rolled with JK Tyre for 6 years. And people ask me that what is post JK Tyre? So I said, after running 6 years with JK Tyre, I got health in my kitty. I was head HR for Torrent Pharma, I was CHR of a mother dairy. And now again people ask me how you define your next move. I said, 32 साल काम करने के बाद hero बनना बनता था. So I am with Hero MotoCorp now. Telling this story is that I am a hardcore manufacturing guy. I have lived into an environment where I think when we talk about resilience, it started when we're discussing resilience when technology started coming in. Your artificial intelligence, your robotics, your Internet of Things, every single thing has that power of disruption. But believe me, when all of them are coming together, we see that there is going to be a transformation. And that's the point where we as leaders, where we as organizations start talking about to be more resilient. And when we talk about being more resilient, what it is how you are going to adopt those changes which are coming so fast to you. That is resilience. It is about when there are challenges, how you look opportunities into those challenges. That is resilience for us. And also, I think it becomes more important when we say that how to respond those challenges, how fast we are, how agile we are to respond to the customer's needs. See, customer needs are changing. If you see, customer has taken over charge of your brand through social media. You need to respond to their needs of customer. And that's where the resilience comes for an organization. And as a part of manufacturing, when I think about what exactly resilience will be for me, it comes from manufacturing excellence. As an organization, am I putting my efforts to save energy? As an organization, whether I'm putting my efforts to see that my processes are sustainable. That is resilience, because I need to think for long term rather going for a short term gain. How I will be after 20 years, how I am impacting the environment, how I am responding to the societal needs, that is resilience for me. Then, important is, it's not about just saying that how leaders are resilient. As an organization, have you built that culture of resilience? That becomes important. And when I say culture of resilience, I think if your employee feels that he is part of that big picture, you are a resilient organization. If he knows that what is your strategy for next 10 years, that person at the bottom of the pyramid, then you are a resilient organization. And that's become an important activity for us, that we put our efforts to make sure that the communication in the organization is to that level that you have a system of top-down and bottom-up communication in the organization. When you listen to people, when you capture their aspiration, you become a resilient organization. You need to create that. As a leader, you need to be open. If your best assumption and best way of working is challenged by your team member, are you comfortable? That questions your leaders need to ask to be resilient. If you are not comfortable, you will not listen to the people. If you are not listening, you are blocking the creativity and innovation in the organization. And that is the crux. If you are innovative, if you are creative, you are a resilient organization. And that responsibility goes to the leaders, that they should be open. They should give you their empowerment. The leaders need to empower people. The leaders need to regard people. The leaders need to trust people. The leaders need to respect people. I think that environment creates a resilient organization. And finally, when we talk about global impact, for sure, the pressure is coming on us that why we should not create that the ethical standards, your environmental stewardship, your corporate social responsibility, is it integral part of your overall strategy or not? If that is that, then that makes you a resilient organization. I think I will stop with my initial remarks here. But yes, resilience comes from the team. Resilience comes from the team. And again, I say that as a leader, you need to know that what is the aspiration of the last person in the pyramid, your pyramid. Your blue-collar workers are important for you. Are you capturing their needs? Because now there are when we talk about Gen X, my blue-collar workers are of Gen X. Their aspirations, their needs are same as we had when we started our career. Are you making sure that you have their development plan, their career plan in place? If they are engaged, if they are motivated, you are a resilient organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pradyumna. So now we'll go for the first round, and probably this may be the last round, I don't know. So let us try for the first round, and the first question goes to Mangal Devji. His experience working many years, more than 3.5 decades in different all top-notch organizations. And as all of you know, the biggest disruptions in the world, if you think about, one is about, Nagasaki, Hiroshima bombing. And that disruption led Japan to be a world leader. Disruption happened in 46, but Japan became super economy faster than fast. Newton's third law, action and reaction. Disruption or resilience is all about how to bounce back or come back. So this is at a country level. Even 2006-8 financial crisis or COVID, these are the disruptions. They have disrupted every individual, family, state, nation, and the world. So that is a larger level, that is a global level. But the companies having many, their manufacturing facilities, offices in different part of the world, like all these companies, they have their different countries, geopolitically different locations they are located. And in impact of one place or policy or even regulation affects different way. That is another way of resilience. Third, if you look into that, tsunami happened in Orissa a few years back. Within 3 days, Naveen Patnaik ji restored the entire normalcy he brought. But when Katrina happened in America, they took 2 years to restore. Resilience, these are different because in India we believe basically the sixth sense, given the context is a king, as Virendra ji rightly said, context is a king. So given the context, what kind of leadership you have to provide, and as Rajiv ji rightly said, how to empower the people. So these are the different kind of resilience at national level, global level, and even organization level which are located across, or even local organizations, and how their impact will come on the other part of the world. So in this context, I would like to, request Mangal Devji to, pose the question. Basically, your experience, expertise in different organizations. Can you quote, out of any 3 great organizations you worked? So a leader who has brought a resilience leadership, so that entire organization culture has changed, and that has impacted, and whatever the Rajiv you are talking about, the profitability, how it has impacted the organization, apart from, a resilient leader, how its impact on the business. Can you, one example, one leader?
Yeah, definitely. So I had the opportunity to work with some of the very tall leaders like Jack Welch. Worked that, of course, in his organization, and I had the opportunity to interact with him a couple of times. He comes from a different era, when he was transforming General Electric company and focusing majority of his time. So, of course, he had a corporate leadership and business leadership, both in the US and around the world. But one of the very important thing that they established was a university called Crotonville, at Crotonville in the US. And I had the opportunity to be part of that educational program, right from my induction days in GE, and, till I really went into Crotonville. So Jack Welch, like, we heard also in the previous session, he would personally mentor all the managers to transform them from managers to leaders. So I think that is a great example that I have seen personally and interacted. And when you spend at the top, the CEO or the chairman is spending majority of his time and passing on his passion and his leadership to his managers, then you multiply that. So that is, you create a resilience automatically in the organization. So that is one. And most recently, I would say, you talk about all those, this is related to Japan. So if you see, Japanese companies are very, very focused and thriving well till some time in Japan during their economic boom. So they became very large houses in Japan, and they were actually, if you look at their educational program and their, I would say the lifestyle, the best lifestyle that they could have, they choose. Of course, you have to choose. It's a choice that you have to make. They could not go outside Japan. So they had some inherent barriers. And when you had these disruptions happening, whether earthquake or whether other kind of disruptions, it became very difficult for the Japanese companies to survive in the long term. Even a company like Hitachi, during major other economic crisis, the entire company's cash situation and business came down. And then one Mr. Nakanishi, he was a great visionary leader, who used to work very closely with the government. He was also the chairman of Kadenren, which was an industry forum, which is working very closely with the political system. And so, very inspirational leader. And he created a long-term plan that how to build or bring this Hitachi back from that disruption back into something which is, making very healthy EBITDA and also sustaining their turnover and become more global than local. So, and his vision was basically diversity is very, very important. Inclusion is very, very important. So we have to go global and find these cultures, imbibe these cultures, bring these leaders into Hitachi's top leadership. We talked about, the organizational changes. So bringing some of the top leaders, he brought one of the global leader in mobility sector from UK to head his business globally and take Japanese mobility business from Japan to the rest of the world, obviously organically and inorganically. So many such examples, and of course a very tight financial recovery plan. And Hitachi used to have, close to 2,000, 3,000 entities, and consolidating them, bringing a better governance.
Right.
So I think another example, like Mr. Nakanishi.
I'll come back, sir. I'll come back. Yeah, I'll just come back. Now I'll come back. So thank you very much. I think Dev Saab has brought a very, very important aspect. Jack Welch was known for seeking strategy, disrupting others, not getting disrupted. If you don't disrupt others, you will get disrupted. So he was having a seeking strategy, and impact of that disruption, entire organization all over the world started adopting Six Sigma, yellow belt, green belt, black belt, no job. It was the job market was tight, and he used the contextual leader. He is the best contextual leader or situation leader. I think you have basically touched the right organization and right resilience leadership you have given, Dev Saab. Thank you very much. Now, Rajiv ji, his versatile experience, and finally, the Africa's the first leader. He said, education can only change the world. I think he is currently heading the, as a MD of Rachna educational groups. So Rajiv ji, you have seen, you all know that Jio came. Jio came with the, the kind of disruptive strategy in the telecom market. It is total disruption. All other players, they suddenly went down or they almost finished. Now, if you see the recent, Airtel again come back with lot of profit and all, it has come back. One company could not, but one came back. So how do you see this, what is your view in this kind of disruption in the same sector? One company is disrupting others, and the Airtel has again come back with good profit margin and all. How you view and what kind of leadership, and in both the side or any one of the company, I think your perspective, can you throw a light on that?
Oh, thank you for asking me that question. So it is all about customer centricity. You can have policies, you can have products which are there, but if you have the customer in focus, I think that is what actually drives. So yes, Jio gave a lot of services which the customers lapped up very quickly. They started getting the business. but then Airtel also started giving the higher quality of service back to the customer. I think that is also one aspect which wins back the customer. I would say, the quality of whatever they're utilizing, using as an Airtel service, I think that is what brought customers back. So that disruption will keep on happening. And Airtel has, look at the wealth of experience they have. They were pioneers when they started. Look at the experience, the team they have with them. So I'm sure that really helped, and the resilience, when you put the resilience formula to it, I think they bounced back very quickly. They never lost hope. Because Jio, when they launched, it was written on the wall that all other organizations in the same field are going to vanish away, but that did not happen. So I think that is a clear sign of a resilient leadership, a resilient product line, a resilient service line, which Airtel started bringing back to the customers. And that's when they won the customers back.
Right. Thank you very much. Rajiv ji touched the very, very important aspect, unless until you touch the customers. That is the experience, previous panel also. Instead of product, the kind of experience you give, I think, Sunil Bharti Mittal was the one, 1986. India was having only 5 mobiles. Now everybody is having many mobiles in one family, but 5 mobiles he was having one. And at that time he predicted, अगले 15 साल में हर सिटीजन के पास रोटी कपड़ा मकान के साथ मोबाइल जोड़ा जाएगा एंड हर पान वाला के पास सिम मिलेगा. He predicted in 86 when there were 5 mobiles. That is what great leaders think the unthinkable, achieve the unachievable, and see the invisible. That is what Sunil Bharti Mittal ji, and that is how what Rajiv ji nicely described. It was a setback, but they came back, and recent, last week, if you see the the announcement, it has come back big way, and probably they will again give the big competitions. Thank you very much, very nicely, Rajiv ji have presented. And again, empowerment, as Rajiv ji in his presentation also told, that is extremely important at every level providing the leadership. With this, I'll come back to Virendra Kumar ji. So, you know that Maruti Suzuki since 1984, Maruti is a, Maruti earlier, later on Suzuki came, but earlier Maruti as a public sector, Krishnamurthy was the one who set up 3 companies. Maruti was one of them, Steel Authority of India, BHEL and Maruti. And that company then joined the Japanese Suzuki. And if you see, in India, always more than 50 or 55% of the market share in passenger car industry out of 12, 13 players, Maruti has more than 50-55%. And historically, and the Toyota-Kirloskar combination, Toyota is number 1, globally 1 or 2, but when it comes to India, Toyota is not closer to Maruti Suzuki. So, and in Suzuki in Japan, it is not number 1, it is number 6 or so, but in India, a Maruti and Suzuki combination, what is the magic, how it has stand up in the crowd in India? Suzuki is not in the highlight in Japan, Toyota is highlight in the world, but not in India. So what is the magic and what kind of strategy and at ground level, so that maintaining 1984 to till today always number 1 position and highest customer satisfaction from third party, it is a magic for Maruti. Is always every Indian proud of Maruti, even Maruti Suzuki. So what is that? Can you tell that secrets?
I am first of all thankful to you for touching upon this aspect of Maruti growth story. And I'm very happy to share that this is a live example of resilient leadership. I'll share 2 very, very pertinent aspects of resilient leadership demonstrated by our managing directors. Then managing director when it was COVID, and the second thing is another managing director when it comes to technological disruption which is taking place. The best part in Maruti Suzuki is that 40 years, 2 million vehicles. It took us, 1 lakh vehicles per annum to now 2 million vehicles per annum we are selling it. 40 years. the speed, scale, and scalability, how resilient this organization is. They have brought in, they never thought that they are complacent. They never thought, they were always into a listing mode, listing their consumers first, the need of the consumers, the customers. Second is understanding the need of the people, their employees. So both aspects they have taken care. The first I'll share with you during the COVID time, the live example of resilient leadership, our that time Managing Director, Mr. Kinchi Ayokawa-san. I was on a CHRO's role and head of Central HR at that time. When this incident occurred, COVID came and there was a big disruption all across, and all our workforce, they were planning to, move away to their native places and run away, and then they were taking buses, trains, and whatever means they were finding to go back. And I went to him and I discussed this aspect with him, that this is going to be a very, very challenging affair for us, because this is very, very serious. It's a question of their life's threats. So he says, what is your recommendation? What is your solution to this? So then 4 or 5 of us are senior leaders, and we recommended to him that we should take care of them at this place and we should not allow them to go back. You will be amazed to see that how that resilience leadership and the decision at that point works. I always call it a human first approach, So human means human touch. Human touch means I always use the anecdote that मैं फूल हूँ गुलाब का, एक कसक छोड़ जाऊँगा, मुरझा भी गया तो महक छोड़ जाऊँगा. This is all about humans. Big round of applause for this. So this is how we deal with humans. He immediately took a decision that till the time the COVID is there, send communication to all your employees, including the contractual employees, that will provide you salaries for all those period. 1. Second, we'll take care of all your health. Wherever you are, stay at your homes. We assure you that all your needs will be taken care, including your medical health. We bought all equipments, oxygen concentrators, created an environment of doctors' team to ensure that they are given. And what is the result out of it? When the post-COVID, the work started, all organizations were struggling, and then this total workforce came back. They worked with a full zeal to create and come back after that setback to reset, rewire, and rearrange the organization in the shortest possible time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Virendra ji, you see, Maruti is the one company. I was in MDI. My student Ganesh Mani, who is heading Ashok Leyland. So at that time, I used to ask, what is the Maruti's production rate? It was 2010. Every 16 seconds, any one of the 2 plants, 1 vehicle is ready for sale. So that is the speed Maruti.
So now it's 7.5 vehicles per minute. Yeah. 7.5 vehicles per minute. And so, resilience, what we see is that, in Maruti, because the other part which I wanted to share with you, all the technological disruption, electric vehicle coming, and a lot of stringent norms, and the hybrid model which Maruti has created, adoption of technology and bringing in excellence in digital adoption. That was our another managing director who built a building intelligent business enterprise and building intelligent HR enterprise to ensure that we adopt the newer technologies and we move. So I've always, they say that समंदर की लहरों को खामोश देखकर ये मत समझना कि उसमें रवानी नहीं है.
Thank you.
Resilience is like this. समंदर की लहरों को खामोश देखकर ये मत समझना कि उसमें रवानी नहीं है. हम जब भी उठेंगे तूफान बन के उठेंगे, बस उठने की हमने ठानी नहीं.
Thank you very much. So I think it is a great, all these, leaders are representing a great companies, and every company has a great history. Now, when you come to Pradyumna Pandeyji, so Dr. Pandey, he is heading, Hero Corps. You know that history of Hero Honda. Hero Honda, now it has become Hero Corps, and Honda is a separate company, and whose name I was taking, he was heading Hyundai in Chennai. Ganesh Mani was also in Hyundai. So these companies, when they started, Japanese wanted to know the know-how of India and Indian market. They joined hands with Hero Corps. And when they understood everything, and then there was a problem, and then they separated out. So I think, Dr. Pandeyji, can you say that that disruption or that, how that has impacted on both the sides, Hero as well as Honda side, but both are doing extremely well. Both are doing extremely well. But still both the companies are doing well. After separating, they were together, they were great. And after separate, they were great. So can you throw a light on that from a leadership point of view?
For sure, I will not able to throw much light because for a year I am with Hero Motocorp.
Okay.
But anyway, the way organizations work, the way organizations are successful, all depends upon how innovative they are, how creative they are. It depends upon the organization culture where ideas are accepted, mistakes are forgiven. That is what we always have seen, that organization move when we allow people to represent their points, to represent their views, their points are taken, their inputs are taken. I think that's the way these companies work, because they involve many people into their R&D part, because customer insights becomes important, what customer demands are, to cater those demands. I think these organizations have worked. I will not able to throw light on what Hero and Honda has done.
Right.
It's only a year with them.
Correct.
The only thing which a small story, a 1 minute story, there was a farmer and he was having 3 horses. And when the automation came, they decided that let's sell out those horses. Ab uska koi upyogita nahi rahi. So the farmer discussed with his wife and said, let me go and sell this into a Pashu Mela. While he was going the day, the wife handed over a tiffin that while you're going to your town, ye khana kha lena raste mein. So when he was going, he saw a river and he thought, ye rasta acha hai, ya naha bhi leta hu, khana bhi kha leta hu. But problem was the 3 horses and he thought the horses will run away. तो उसने साधु जो बैठे थे उनसे पूछा कि थोड़ी मदद कर दीजिए, and the sadhu gave him 2 pieces of rope कि इसको यूज करें करके. उसने एक घोड़े का पांव एक पेड़ से बांधा, एक रस्सी से, दूसरे घोड़े का दूसरे से बांधा, and he again looked at the sadhu कि तीसरे घोड़े का क्या करना है. तो he said कुछ नहीं, just act like that you are tying him, उसके पांव पे हाथ लगाओ, पेड़ पे हाथ लगाओ और जाओ. And he did the same. वो करके नहा के वापस आया and he was bit surprised that तीनों घोड़े वहीं पे थे. And but उसने सोचा साधु ने कुछ किया and he believed on his thing, and then उसने दोनों घोड़ों के पांव खोले, घोड़े के पीठ पे हाथ मारा and he started walking towards the city. 100 मीटर गया, देखा 2 ही घोड़े उसके पीछे आ रहे थे. He came back. उसने साधु से आके पूछा कि आपने मेरे घोड़े को क्या कर दिया, मेरे साथ नहीं आ रहा है. उसने बोला आपने इसको खोला नहीं. उसने बोला मैंने इसको तो बांधा ही नहीं था. बोला बंधन था, बंधन यहाँ था. And idea is when you want to be resilient, we want to grow, दिमाग के बंधन खोलने पड़ेंगे, दिमाग के घोड़े खोलने पड़ेंगे. You need to create that environment which makes you more creative, more innovative. That is the point, how the company is normally success.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pradyumna. I think the narrative of the story, I think this is a very apt for this particular topic. Now, let me come to Ballaji, Ashish Balla. SCL Technology, you know that it was earlier also, this company it was a government company, UP government company, is it not? So it started with the public sector company or a state enterprise, but it was not doing well and it was in losses, and suddenly, the Shiv Nadar, who is, I was working as a director at IIM Trichy, so he belongs to Trichy, and Trichy has given many great leaders and he is one among them. So he took this company from nowhere to the current status. It is one of the leading company and now it is led by Roshni Nadar. So this company, how it has made a mark and how it has taken the competition and taking to the next level from nowhere to this, and looking at the competition, there were many disruptions in IT industry. In spite of that, this company maintained its lead in the top league. So what are those approaches or strategies to remain always at the top and resilient?
I'm sure a lot of you would have heard that the concept given by our former CEO, Mr. Vineet Nair, employee first, customer second. There's a book published on this, as well as there's a case study taught at Harvard. When all companies were running about keeping customers happy, he came up with the thought of, I will keep my employees happy and they will keep my customers happy automatically. And I think that culture and the policies, processes that were evolved during that time, that got built in so much into the system itself, in the DNA itself, that now we still believe that ways, and we work, whatever new things we try to do, we try to work in new geographies. Everywhere we go with this concept of employee first. And talking about Mr. Nada and his family, great people because they always stayed connected with the ground. You look at Shivnada Foundation, HCL Foundation, they work so much for the social benefit, right? And that the statement we keep believing and using for all our thought processes, we don't just do good business, we do business for good, which made a difference to the whole employee base there. And there are programs which are launched as employee benefit, right? That was a buzzer to stop, is it?
Yeah, you know.
Okay. So I'll just summarize it. I think it's the leadership, it's the vision that where we want to take this company and take people along with you. No leader just can make the organization successful if they don't believe in their people, and if they don't collaborate with them, don't upskill them, don't give them those opportunities to learn and grow and to be participative in the decision making. I think that ways, if everybody works together with the same vision, the organization can achieve those results. Yeah, thank you.
So thank you very much, Ashish ji. So in a minute, to summarize all the leaders, their views and perspectives and opening remark, 2-3 things emerge out. One is, if you see historically, we were part of the other animals, civilization if you go back, and we were living in an uncertain world. So that uncertainty basically makes us always alert, always puts us, think differently and do differently. And apart from that, the cooperation, which is the important mantra of Indian tradition, Indian knowledge system, it is there. Collaboration, as many of us told. And again, the most important, how to empower today's leadership and today's uncertain world, disruptive world. Leader listens and others speak. Earlier, leaders used to speak, others used to listen. Now, as Rajiv ji rightly said, now leader job is to listen, empower the people, identify the right people, right task. Then leader's job is over, they have to fully empower them. So empowerment is another important. And at the individual level in the department and the community level in that area, plus organization level, the leaders build the resilience, and that only makes the difference over the others. And there are some of the examples, Jack Welch, Japan, or if you see many companies or countries, there are many beautiful examples how to, once again they came back. But if you give the example of Kodak, they failed. They could not come back. They lost everything. So therefore, there are many companies, those who are not living with the resilience leadership, they failed. Those who acquired the resilience leadership, they stand up in the crowd and they are doing well. So with this, I thank all my esteemed, the panel members, the Dev Saab, Rajiv ji, Pradyumna ji, Ashish and Virendra ji, the fantastic perspective they have brought. And I also thank all the participants for, patient listening and participation.
Thank you and congratulations on a great panel discussion. I think everybody holds a very good experience. I had a bigger one, but I'll ask a small one. So what future global trends do you foresee affecting local markets? Because I think that's something which reflects business leadership. And how should leaders prepare for these changes?
Yeah, can you repeat your question?
I
Two
would.
parts of it. First is, what are the global...
What future global trends do you foresee affecting local markets? And how should leaders prepare for the changes? The changes that is happening locally at local markets.
So
because
let
of
me
the
be very
global
honest with
leadership.
you that we are very well sensitive to what is going to change across the globe. Because any organization who's not, keeping their eyes and ears open, so they are not going to do it. So what trends we are seeing is that with coming of very speed, skill, scale, and scalability, these are some of the aspects which we are viewing. that with artificial intelligence coming, artificial intelligence is going to take over actual general intelligence by 2029. Other day I was with a Peter Diamandis, who's a partner with Elon Musk. So I asked these questions to him. So the way this, artificial intelligence is moving with brain-computer interface, emotions to action straight away, and also with Neuralink. Medical science, yes, it will help it. There will be a life will get, more better and longer because you'll be able to diagnose the disease. But what about emotions to actions? There will be a lot of chaos, lot of complications, complexities in terms of conflicts, human conflicts. Do you have any solutions? So we are very versed there. So we want to do judicious utilizations of those technologies in terms of seeing the sensitivity of the humans and people. So we are fully prepared that we are moving towards alternative fuel systems. We are moving towards sustainable tomorrow. ESG is the need of the hour, so we are adopting it. But you must have seen that we are moving from straight electric to, because coal was being produced, but that was not linked to our value system. So we are moving to hybrid technology, and slowly we move to electric. So when infrastructure is
Thank you, Virendra ji.
Can I add to that?
All the autos are moving from current IC engine to EV, and EV is the way of life, and battery again there are certain challenges. But I think Rajiv ji will.
I just want to add just one line. So, Shalini, to your question, if we already know the future, it's no longer the future. So I think future is something which we don't know about. As leaders, we need to be very mindful of the fact that our teams have to be agile. Learning agility should be looked at. Adaptability should be looked at. And resilience, like we have been talking about it for the past 1 hour. I think these are the traits which we must keep alive in an organization. Whatever comes and whatever gets thrown at your organization, these traits will ensure that you go up unscathed and come up beautifully.
Thank you very much. One more question.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Absolutely. I think there's no two views about it. Definitely. So generally, every organization is doing a lot, and post-COVID, I think this flavor has really come up very well. Like Mr. Krishna from Organic, he was mentioning, I think as long as the employees feel connected with the organization, and I get reminded of two things when I started my career. Two things, how you want to treat your employees. First was, treat them as partners in progress, not just employees or anything else, partners. Second, connect their hearts and minds to the organization. And what Mr. Krishnan mentioned, I think this is what exactly is happening. If this is done, I don't think you need any wellness programs or anything. People will feel connected. People will feel absolutely positive when they come to their workplace. These are the things which we sometimes miss in the speed to grow or in the race to grow. If we bring these things back on the table, yes, wellness is important, and every organization right now is having programs. They have a tie-up with wellness institutions, the medical institutions. They have got health talks coming up, yoga sessions in the morning. All those things are happening. But ultimately, the basic thing is how have you connected the heart and the mind of the employee with the organization. That is very important. How are you treating the employee? Are you treating the employee as an employee only or as a partner in progress? I think these two elements which we need to be very, very mindful of. Absolutely. EQ is very, very important. Empathy is important.
So let me add, you said, future, past is a mystery. Past is a history, future is a mystery, and current is the chemistry.
But some people's past,
so you
some
can
people's
work on
past
current,
is a mystery also.
Yeah. Current is a chemistry. You can work on currently
Jali,
whatever
next.
status we are.
Last
so what
one
organizations,
question.
yeah, what organizations are doing
Sir,
is that they are
sir.
doing now, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
Can
overall
we have
wellness
a question
programs.
from him
I
because
think last one question.
Yeah, hello, sir. Sir, here.
Yeah.
Sir, this side. Sir, I have a question. My question is, how do you become a resilient employee? Like, we're speaking from an organization perspective, but how do you become a resilient employee? Because at one side you have AI, at the other side you have a job being outsourced. Because now what's happening, some jobs are being outsourced from India to Southeast Asia, where it can get done for even more, much more cheaper. So, as
Yeah,
an
Jindagi
employee
mein-
minus the company, you can say, even the best performers sometimes have
May
been
I?
fired from the company.
As an employee, if you want to be resilient, multi-skill yourself, learn as much as you can. It is said that leaders are readers and readers are leaders. Read as much as you can. Bring your knowledge in your kitty. I think that will make you more resilient.
No, 10
Sir,
companies will
and
come
stay
to you,
ahead
you have
of-
to choose the company.
And
you have
stay-
to choose the company if you do
No,
that.
no, sir. Let me
Stay
be very
ahead
honest
of the
with you.
learning curve.
No, no.
Don't
Life,
be a part of the learning curve, ahead of the learning curve.
yeah. One, certainly there is a wheel of life, you know. So what is important in life is health. Health comes the first. Employee has to take care of his health first. Second is career. Third is the relationship. So next is, you know, abundance across. So you have to focus on his health first, and then rest everything can be taken care.
Okay, so thank you very much. Thanks a lot. No.
So with that, we come to the end of the question answer session. I would like to invite upon stage Sood sir, who would be starting the felicitation ceremony for this panel. So first up, I'd please like to invite forward Dr. Bhimaraya Metri, Director of IIM Nagpur. Can we have a round of applause for sir, please? Next up, I request Mr. Rajiv Kapoor, Managing Director of Manav, Rachna and Educational Institution to step forward, please. Next, I would kindly request Mr. Mangal, Head of Hitachi Rail Systems India and South Asia and a Director at Hitachi India Private Limited to please step forward. Now I please request Mr. Varinder Kumar Verma, Head of HR Strategy and Transformation at Maruti Suzuki India Limited to please step forward. Finally, I'd please ask Dr. Pradyumn Pandey, Manufacturing HR Head, Hero Motor Corp Limited to please step forward. Dr. Pradyumn, if you could please step forward. Finally, I please request Mr. Ashish Bhalla, Director HR at HCL Technologies to please step forward. Dr. Bhimaraya to announce who had the best question. So congratulations to the winner for the best question. Bhimaraya sir, if you could. Bhimaraya sir, if you could just, sir, one more winner. One more winner, sir, since we had 3 questions. So, sir, can you please join Sood sir in felicitating them?